everyone, welcome back to Screen Coven, part 2 of our deep dive into the season 4 trailer of From, an MGM Plus show. Let's dive in where we left off. We then get a flash of the jukebox, which of course in and of itself is a massive character in this show. And it's always really exciting to get a glimpse of what songs they're including on the jukebox and also which ones they're not including on the jukebox each season. I have been looking into these songs, and I think I'll include a little bit more of an in-depth look into these songs onto my other video that I've mentioned I'll make that dives more into theories. But just a quick note on some of these that I thought was just worth mentioning. Town Without Pity seems decently self-explanatory. FROMville is definitely a town without any pity. Something I do want to note about this song is that some of the lyrics mention things such as, "When you're young and so in love as we, and bewildered by the world we see. Why do people hurt us so? Only those in love could know what a town without pity can do." So let's note that this song is about lovers who are kind of caught in, let's call it their dreamlike state of romance, and that they feel like everyone in the town is attacking them. But that really, the town itself is the problem, because they just don't know how to take pity on these two young lovers. Psycho Killer, I think that one is also pretty self-explanatory without getting too much into the lyrics. In this trailer, we're really getting the theme of, become what you fear. Is boy turning into a monster? So I think Psycho Killer is probably an indication of our characters in some way changing. Or another theory is that this could actually be referencing something that will be happening in season 4, which could be pretty interesting. So I wanted to point out the love aspect to that first song because another song on here is called Stumbling In. And the lyrics to this one are kind of similar in the sense of you have lovebirds that are kind of a little bit in this dreamlike state and they're being kind of foolish. The lyrics go, "Our love is alive, and so we begin, foolishly laying our hearts on the table, stumbling in." And this theme of lovers does continue throughout a few more songs on here. And not only is that a theme on the songs in here for season 1, but that's actually a really common theme if you go back and look at other songs that have been in this jukebox or have played at pivotal moments, such as the trailers for past seasons. And I think it's interesting because, and remember this for future episodes when I'm talking about my deep dive theories on the show, what is one of the main pictures that we have been shown time and time again? It's always this one that really depicts Adam and Eve. And I'm not trying to get into saying that I think this show is based around that story or is biblical. Of course, there are tons of religious references and themes in this show, but I'm actually pointing this out from the standpoint of an origin story that starts with two lovers. And the fact that we have Jade and Tabitha kind of being what I know a lot of people are calling the original mom and dad of the show. So while it's always kind of seemed easy to say that this is actually Fatima and Ellis, what if it's really Tabitha and Jade? Or whoever their actual original people were? We've kind of been told that this whole thing started when the children were sacrificed and their hope was poured into the roots which created the tree. However, what if that's only part of the story? What if the whole point was actually what Jade and Tabitha or Miranda and Christopher or whoever else they could be? What if it was really about what they did? Or better yet, what they didn't do? We then see Ellis, Boyd, and Jade are wheeling what appears to be a body into the church. And when they put the body down, while of course it's not completely clear who it is, I do think they want us to think it's Jim. It kind of appears to have boots that Jim wears. Jim was wearing a dark blue shirt. This person appears to be wearing a dark blue shirt. There's a wedding band on their finger. There also appears to be cuts on their hand, which I'm not sure if Jim would have had that on his hand or not. We hear Boyd say that we're losing. We're running out of time and we still don't know the goddamn rules. We can feel the desperation growing in him. The storyline I'm probably most excited about for this upcoming season is learning more about Julie and her story walking abilities. We get a glimpse of Julie and Randall going to the ruins for what we can assume is Julie trying to story walk. We then see Julie in the woods at night, and she appears to be seeing Sophia and Kenny outside who are being hunted by the creatures. Julie also sees other creatures walking through the woods. I do just want to point out that just because it looks like they had kind of pieced these two scenes together where Julie is potentially seeing Kenny and Sophia outside, we're also seeing her see the creatures walk through the woods. And this moment where they're walking through the woods does look a little familiar. It makes me think about the night that Randall was taken. So potentially since Julie went to the ruins with Randall, we're seeing her story walk to that night. Or my other guess is that this is a moment that we either haven't seen yet or hasn't happened for her yet. And I know a lot of you might be saying, hold on, wait, Julie can't visit the future. Well, we don't really know that. And this is another theory that I'll get into more in my theories breakdown coming next. Briefly, I will say this. I believe that time is not linear and that potentially all of these different time periods are actually overlapped and all happening at once in a continuous cycle. So that if we think Julie can't visit the future, she actually maybe can because the future is the past. Okay, I don't want to make your head spin right now. That's not the purpose of this episode. So if you think this kind of thing is interesting and you do like to dive more into theories, please subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I have a ton to talk about, so I will be making more videos on this. And my goal is to get at least a couple more out before the new season actually starts. Julie, Tabitha, and Ethan are in the kitchen and they see a book seemingly fly off the table and across the room, almost at them. And then the kitchen cabinets start to swing open in a manic, frantic way. This book appears to be called How the Light Gets In. And how it's possibly connected to the show is because of a famous song called Anthem by Leonard Cohen. And there's a line in it that says, "There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." We then hear Boyd say that none of us are going anywhere to Donna, and we see a ring fall to the ground. We do see Boyd looking at this ring just a few flashes later in the episode, and there's an engraving in the center of it. It's an infinity mark. And when you look at it closely, it doesn't look professionally done. It definitely looks like someone etched this themselves into it. Where did this ring come from? Is it Abby's ring? And just to point out, notice how when Boyd is saying this to Donna, what is behind him? The couple. The famous Adam and Eve couple. We quickly see Fatima, though it looks like she's still in the cellar here. And then we finally get to see Acosta, who is seemingly very upset. She even tells Boyd she thinks he's the monster. This whole situation almost looks as though Acosta was trying to take the ambulance out of town. We see the door open. Obviously, Boyd's upset. We've got the tire strips down. Christy and Marielle are there and they look really concerned. So Acosta's gotten herself up to something. We know she really doesn't trust Boyd. And as easy as it is to kind of write that off as, oh, you're just a new character and you haven't had the time to get to know Boyd and trust him the way we have. Well, why do we think that? I mean, truly, why do we think that? Because everyone who comes here seems to have this unique experience and a lot of times connection to this place. So Acosta's instinct about Boyd could really just be dead on. And as we enter into season 4 and we see whatever sort of change Boyd is going through, I can't wait to see how it will all progress. We get a look at Boyd running through town, and there appears to be a bloody bag hanging from the motel sign. And then we see Ethan running out the house and kind of running that way, what we can assume is maybe towards that sign, with Boyd trying to stop him. Unless they're totally trying to throw us for a loop, I think it's safe to say that whatever is hanging from this sign, they at least want everyone to think this has to do with Jim. We get one more look at Fatima. This time, thankfully, she's out of the root cellar, and it looks like maybe she's making some sort of a project. My guess is that this probably isn't just a fun art project. She's probably looking to destroy some stuff. And I also say that because later on in this trailer, we get a quick look of Fatima very angry and smashing in the windows of a vehicle. We then see Tabitha take Henry to the bottle tree. I'm so curious to see what else Henry knows. Does he remember something more from Miranda that can help everyone? Could he himself actually have some connection to this place that we are not expecting? We then get a look at that funeral again, and the crows that are causing trouble. Except, everyone's kind of looking up at them in a very concerned way. It makes me wonder, could they be seeing something else? We then see Kenny with Sophia, and I've definitely seen people speculating on whether or not Sophia will be Kenny's new love interest. I guess we'll find out. One of the next things we're seeing is Ellis, Tabitha, and Ethan, and I'm kind of assuming Donna. But honestly, maybe this is Sophia. It's hard to say. Appear to be in a cabin somewhere. And there's also a man there that I don't recognize. And during this moment, we see something truly bizarre. A scarecrow-like figure breaks into the walls. We can also refer to these as puppets. I think that's kind of the official name that I've seen go around. We talked about these earlier in the trailer. Remember that people were uncovering these in the ground. I can't help but wonder how much this particular one looks like references to other characters from horror films. I'm not sure if that means there's some connection there or not. Okay, I really was not expecting scarecrows, puppets, life-size dolls, whatever you want to call them, to enter this show. I guess I should have, right? Because pretty much anything goes. But this is kind of nuts. As we get a better close-up, we can see that this was definitely the puppet from the ground earlier. They showed us that face with the one button on the eye and the very scary stitched up mouth. And it appears to come in and just start attacking people. We see it going for a punch. It's hard to say who it went for exactly. And finally, we get a new look at the man in yellow. He's hunched over on the ground, seemingly naked, and then we see him to some kind of crazy transformation. His bones are breaking, his skin is changing. We see his hair appear to be growing out. It seems kind of obvious that he must be shapeshifting. Who, or better yet, what, is the man in yellow? We get to see another clip of what appears to be Julie story walking. And it looks to be from the night that Boyd was stuck with some of the others in the RV and he goes to shoot at the creatures. Was there something from this night that we missed? Was Julie there the whole time? We then see Jade back in the tunnels, but the creatures are awake now, and they're starting to form around him. Next is where we get the clip of Ethan running into Jim, fake Jim, whoever this is, the man in yellow, I don't know, into his arms. And during that is when we hear Elgin say, "The truth always comes out." Is that foreshadowing something with Jim? Boyd assures Elgin that he'll make sure it doesn't. This character here looks deeply distressed. And again, this is another scene where it's a little hard to tell who it is. After a lot of studying it, I actually think it's Randall, but what do you guys think? We then get another look at Tabitha as a little girl in FROMville. Hopefully this is a sign that we can revisit this day and learn more about her story. As we near the end of the trailer, we get another glimpse of Marielle again. She's chained to a wall and screaming, but this is a scene we have not yet seen. Why is she back here? Why are we seeing just her and not also Randall and Julie in these situations? What is the significance of Marielle being here? We don't get a ton of Sarah in this trailer, but we do finally get to see her here, on the ground, screaming, likely having another one of her attacks. And it looks like Sophia is there to comfort her. I really can't wait to see what happens with Sarah this season. I think she's a really underrated character that has a much bigger story to play in this than we really can imagine at this point. And I hope we get to see more of that this season. Later in the trailer, we're also getting a glimpse of Henry during this scene, and he appears to be very frustrated, upset, and possibly screaming. So I wonder what led to this. Did Victor's drawings trigger a memory or something that he knows? And then after that, we just get a couple more flashes. We see the one I mentioned of Sophia in the car wreckage, Julie being held by Randall, likely after a story walking episode that was traumatic, Fatima smashing the car, Henry being upset, and one last flash of Boyd before it ends. Thank you all so much for joining me for my season 4 trailer reaction and breakdown videos for the incredible show From. Season 4 is airing on MGM Plus on April 19th. If you want to hear me dive deeper into theories on this show, subscribe to my channel. More videos are to come. And in the meantime, check out some of my other videos. I've got a breakdown video of some of the best shows to watch in March right now that I'll link to the end of this video. See you next time.